Hi, 皆さんこんにちは. Yeah, it's Yobi1 checking in. Just gonna make a video real quick to answer a question that I get a lot is about the cost of living in Japan. So I'm gonna try to break this down to you guys real quick and let you know based on my experience. So this is based solely on my experience. It's gonna vary a little bit for everybody, but I'm gonna break it down to how much my year in Japan cost. So I'll start with flight. The flight that I paid was about $800 Canadian one way the first time. And then my return ticket was about $800, $900 because it was during peak season. You could find cheap tickets to Japan, cheap round trip. Based on where I live in Edmonton to Japan, I paid, sometimes you can get $1,200, $1,100, or even $1,000 round trip. You have to go during like the not the peak periods. So yeah, search around for that. Another cost, I'll say living costs. So my dormitory fees that I paid was about $400 Canadian per month, and they broke that down per semester. So per semester I was paying roughly $1,600 Canadian, about 4 months in one semester. So yeah, it was pretty cheap. Normally I can hear you can get like a 1-bedroom apartment in most areas in Japan for around $1,000 or under $1,000. I know of some places in Nagoya where you can get it for like $600, $700 a month. You're gonna get it like a really small place, but you know, you'll spend most of your time outside anyway, so it's not a big deal. Another cost, let's say food cost. So the cost for food, basically, if you break it down, I was grocery shopping for me. I'm a pretty big guy, so I like to eat a lot. So I was eating maybe close to $30 a week on food. One thing, if you like to grocery shop, you can get Western food in Japan. However, it's going to be more expensive, so it's easier just to adopt a lifestyle of starting to eat tofu and daikon, radishes, and things like that. And Japanese food, which is really, really healthy and really, really good. I lost a lot of weight in Japan just from eating Japanese food, so that's a big plus. So the price of a meal or eating out, usually we'd spend like maybe $10 or under $10 for sure. Like if you're going to Yoshinoya's or like a cheap ramen place, you're gonna be spending like $7 or so. But if you go to like an izakaya, Japanese style bar, you can pay like $3 for a beer, and like just any kind of thing is really, really cheap. So it's very, very inexpensive to go eat out a lot in Japan. There is the expensive side too, but for example, all you can eat yakiniku tabe hodai is like $35. Come on, all you can eat meat and beef, and also nomi hodai, all you can drink beer for like $35. How many times do you go to the bar in Canada and you spend like $50 on drinking and wings and shit? So that's a pretty good deal. Another cost, let's say, said that food, yeah. So eating out is almost the same. Another cost, transportation. So I'll break down the fees for transportation. It's roughly $2.50 to take a train one way in any direction. But say along your map, you live in this station and you want to go to this station, you can buy like an all-you-can-ride pass, and you can ride as much as you want to any station in between those two stations, as much as you want for about $100 a month, which is really, really cheap. Transportation saved me a lot because you're not driving in Japan, so no car insurance, no gas, and you don't really have to stress about anything. The train system is really great, so that was a really good thing. Also, you can get a bike, which is really easy and nice to get around. It's really, really nice to bike around Japan. Nobody's gonna steal your bike. I've never seen somebody steal, but I've seen seats being stolen, but I've never seen a bike get stolen. Oh, actually, yeah, I did see a bike get stolen, but they didn't lock their bike, so that's their fault. As long as you lock your bike, it's not gonna get stolen. And you can get a brand new bike for like $100 plus almost, and then you can get a used bike like from a used bike place for like $50. So that's pretty cheap, and that's the transportation cost. Oh yeah, Shinkansen. You can take the Shinkansen. Shinkansen is pretty expensive. You're paying at least $100 one way. If you're a student though, you get 20% discount. So keep that in mind. If you're going to school, you can get a discount for 20% off the JR ticket prices. So keep that in mind, because then a one-way ticket from Nagoya to Tokyo is going to be $80, which is pretty sweet. You can also get the Seishun 18 Kipu, which is about $110. And you can ride the JR line, any of the things on the JR line except the express, Shinkansen and stuff. You can ride it all you want for 5 times. So say you want to ride it, you can go to Tokyo, but it'll take like 6 hours from Nagoya though. But it's pretty convenient if you want a cheap way of getting around. So that's transportation cost. I'll say my school fees. I paid tuition towards my school, my university. So if you're doing an exchange, you're going to be paying your fee to your home university, whichever full-time fee is. So I don't really need to say that, how much my school costs. That's going to be depending on where you go to school, and yeah. And then going out and stuff, that's where I spent a lot of money. I was going out. It cost like maybe $30, $35 to go to a club usually in Japan. That's basically the overall price I've seen at most clubs from Tokyo to Nagoya. The only difference in Nagoya, you get a lot of drink tickets when you go to these clubs and you're spending $35 or $30. You'll get like 4 drink tickets, so it kind of balances out. So going out is pretty expensive, but it's worth it. Yeah. It was worth it. Okay, and then the last thing that I'm gonna talk about. Let's see, I covered transportation, food, everything like that. Oh, the most expensive thing that I had was my cell phone. I paid about 200 Canadian for my cell phone. And normally Japanese cell phone plans are really cheap, as long as you don't go over the minutes, over the usage. So for example, SoftBank, from 1 to 9 p.m., you could have unlimited calling to SoftBank phones for free. But if you call outside of that, you're going to get charged a lot. So I used to call somebody a lot outside of those hours. And then, for example, 1 month my phone bill was like $300, which is really expensive and really ridiculous. And probably unheard of in Japan because nobody does that kind of stupid gaijin foreigner noob mistake. So one thing that Japanese people do is they'll get more than one cell phone. They'll get like 2 cell phones from 2 different companies. Because it'll be cheaper that way. They'll have all of their friends who have SoftBank on one phone, all of their friends who have Docomo on the other phone, and then they're paying maybe $30 on each phone per month, or maybe even cheaper, like $25 per phone per month. So they're paying maybe $50 a month. So just that 1 month, I could have bought every cell phone carrier and paid off like for 3 months on each one. So watch out for the cell phone prices. Don't get duped in by that. So I'm going to say roughly my whole year cost me about $16,000 roughly, including tuition. I'm not going to roughly tell you what that is, I guess, but you can figure it out if you do the math of all the prices that I just told you. So yeah, it was about $16,000. The good thing about it is that you can work while you're there. Anybody can work as long as you speak English. You can tutor English or just do English conversation groups. You're making about $25 to $30 per hour per lesson, which is really sweet. You can go online to like findstudents.net or findteachers.net or whatever in Japan, and you just put up your information, contact information, and there'll be companies that will pair you with people looking for just people for English conversation, and they'll pay you like, you can negotiate. But for example, I went through a company, they dealt with all the money and logistics and finding me students, and I was making like $25 per student roughly, which is really good. So I do about 5 lessons a week. So about a month just from doing tutoring on the side, I was making maybe $3,000, which is like $350 Canadian. So that's gonna cut your cost a lot. So basically, my cost was roughly $1,000 a month if you break it down. And right there you can get 30 or 40% of your money just from tutoring. That's not even, I didn't even really work, you know. So if you do like a part-time job, I guarantee you can make it to Japan. There is a way, you know. If you're going to be going through an exchange, you can get student loans that will pay a lot. There's also lots of scholarships like the JASO scholarship. There's tons of scholarships and stuff that you can apply for, especially through your universities and stuff. There's lots of international student scholarships. So just apply for those, get student loans, and just work, do some tutoring, because anybody can tutor there. So nobody has no excuse to not try to go to Japan because it's too expensive. Because I'm not rich. I barely have any money now. I'm kind of broke. So anybody can do it. You just have to get off your butt and do it. That's it. Just do it. Like the Nike ad. Just do it. No excuses. It's not too expensive. Anybody can do it. I did it, so you can. Ja. If you have any more questions about fees and stuff, just post a comment. Thank you guys for subbing and stuff like that too. And I'll keep trying to give you some more information about stuff that I did and experiences and stuff for you to go to Japan. Go now. Hurry. Jane, bye-bye.